joining me now in the studio is HR consultant Denise Waite. Denise, welcome and thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much for asking me.
Now, last week, of course, there was the ban on the legal highs. And now I know you're here, you can talk about how this affects employers. So obviously the ban was put into place. How directly, initially, does this affect employers in the workplace?
Well, in most respects, employers may already have a substance abuse policy in place, which is always good practice. So there may not, with the employees that have already got those, many changes to make. Whereas for the employees that don't have those in place already, it would be a good idea to then start thinking about then putting a substance abuse policy in place, which not only covers the illegal highs and illegal drugs, but also alcohol, smoking, vaping, and other substances which are legal as well. Because something doesn't have to be illegal for an employer to ban it from the workplace.
Yeah, and I mean, you say that before legal highs were actually made illegal. Could someone, technically an employee, come into work under the influence of a legal high and not be breaching the contract?
Technically, they wouldn't be in breach of contract, but they may be in breach of health and safety rules, because if somebody is coming under the influence, then it's going to affect concentration levels. It can cause erratic behaviour. So it's on a risk basis. But if there isn't a written policy then to refer to, then it's like saying to somebody, you've broken a rule, but I'm only going to tell you the rule after you've broken it. So it's always better to have it in place before, so everybody is very clear. And an example is pilots who fly passenger aircraft. I think it's 24 hours before a flight they're not allowed to drink alcohol. Yeah. So alcohol is legal, but because of the health and safety risk to then an airplane of passengers, then they've got that in their policy.
And how easy is it now for employers to actually change the regulations and put that all in force?
It's quite easy to then put a substance abuse policy together. The clients that I work with, when I review what they've already got in place, that is one of the standard things that we do put in place. Because interestingly, before the ban, the YMCA actually carried out a survey, and the results of that suggest that 2/3 of young people that are actually taking what was legal highs have said that they will still continue to take them even though they're now illegal. So it's really important to have a policy in place so that you can deal with the illegal substances as well as the legal.
Yeah, so what's the responsibility of the employer there? Obviously we've now got the case of, like you said there, 2/3 of young people will carry on taking them. Even though there's a ban, most probably they may carry on taking them. What's the responsibility of the employer then to provide help and support for those employees?
That's always the best approach, because if you want employees to come forward and say, look, I've got a problem, I need help, if they think that then by coming forward that they're going to be dismissed, they'll lose their jobs, they're going to hide it. Whereas if the first conversation is, right, talk to us, tell us what the problem is, we can then talk about what support and what help you need, and put a plan in place to then help that person and encourage employees to come forward. And also encourage other colleagues that if they suspect that somebody has got an issue to come forward as well. Eventually, if that plan of action isn't stuck to, or there's a regress, then the employer may, in the end, have to dismiss. But the first conversation should be about help and support.
I mean, how willing do you think employers are going to be with that in offering help and support?
The clients that I work with are very open to that. I think the days of the big bad boss are disappearing. Yes, there's still some rogue employers out there, but the majority of businesses that I work with are all about, well, how can we create a harmonious environment? How can we make the workplace effective? Because the more effective and harmonious the working teams are, then the more productive
Yeah.
and more profit that the businesses will make.
And just finally, now there has been a ban. Before, paramedics was 4 calls a day related to legal highs. Do you think it's going to decrease now?
I would hope so, but there's two camps. There's one camp that says, well, by banning it, you lose then control and you drive it underground, and then you drive the price up. Then you can't control what's actually in it.
Yeah.
So it could go
Could go
either way.
Yeah. Well, Denise, thank you very much for joining me this evening.
Thank you.